Everybody, welcome back to Slingin Dirt. I'm Buddy Ray, and you're
Matt Dennis. Everybody,
finally Matt Dennis. Only took me 9 weeks to figure that out. So a little bit of different take today on today's show. We're here at my shop. We decided to give Creative Element the day off for this episode. In this episode, we're going to be talking keywords here: situational awareness.
Yeah, you definitely need to make sure your surroundings, not only in the shop, but especially at the racetrack.
In the pits. We'll go into that. We're going to be talking about Ryan Jenkins. That kid has just come on, really. 2 wins in a row last weekend. Several top fours. He's got a bright future. I mean, we talked about him on the same episode as Adam Armstrong. I mean, the kid's destined for good things. Of course, we're going to have Songer Says and a whole lot more, so stay tuned. It's Slingin Dirt. Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Slingin Dirt. Buddy Ray, Matt Dennis. Let's just get to it. A lot of racing going on here in the last couple of weeks. You've started to really watch some key names. I've watched, in fact, we're really on the same page with who we're watching and stuff like that. We mentioned this on last week's show. Ryan Jenkins, what driver the number 6? I'm not for sure if he has a BMS or if it's a Razor or what. But it's the number 6 B mod from out at ID Speedway, Adams County Speedway. I think he races over at McCool, or he still does. He goes a little bit around the area here, but wow.
He had a stellar weekend. I mean, people have heard of him, but they've never heard of him in the winter circuit, especially 2 nights in a row at 2 different tracks.
No, and when you go to I-80 in Corning, Iowa, I-80's in Greenwood, Nebraska, Adams County Speedway down there in Corning, Iowa. A lot of the drivers at those tracks, we've said it before, they may not be known on the national stage. That doesn't mean that they're not, you know, a wheel guy or a wheel lady, to be politically correct. But Ryan, if he keeps going with the way that he is right now, he's going to be a force to be. I mean, he is now, but down the road, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Right. If not only this season, but if he can bring the success from last season and the beginning of this season already, if he can keep going with that momentum through this year, next year, he's definitely going to be a contender for some titles. Yeah.
You know, the way he's going right now, could you say that he's easily a top 5 guy in points at I-80?
Easily top 5 guy at I-80.
10 out of 10, 10 being, my God, he's the champion. What do you give him his shot at a championship?
Right now, I'm only going to say a 7. I mean, he's still fairly new.
You know, and a 7's not bad.
Right.
I mean, that's a 70% chance of being a champion. But yeah, I would go probably 7.70 or 7 to 7.5 out of 10. I think the biggest thing with him right now is he's driving against drivers that have a lot more driving experience, a lot more seat time. I'm not saying that he's weak in that area. It sounds like it is, but if you go to the Daytona 500, what car would you want to own? Chase Elliott or Jeff Gordon? What driver do you want driving for you? I'm taking the experience.
So would I.
So would I. Now, Ryan Jenkins, awesome kid, pretty laid back, pretty good, well-mannered kid. He's so young. And when you got guys like Lighty, who's a lot older, Dennis Cook, a lot older, Bill Flegg, a lot older. I mean, shoot, here I am at 41. I'm still a lot older than Ryan Jenkins. And that's my only issue with him is he's not immature. That's not what I'm saying. He's so new to the sport, relatively speaking. I think he's been racing 2 or 3 years in the B mods. He will get there. He's already got 2 feature wins. I will tell you the way the NASCAR system works, though, I could definitely see him. I didn't think about this. We're looking at a 7 to 7.5 out of 10 at a track championship. I think this kid's a solid 8 to a 9 for a national championship in his series.
With the way the NASCAR rules work, really he only needs to run one NASCAR track to win a NASCAR title. I've been there with one of my drivers before, but you've got to be almost completely perfect at that one track.
Yeah, and the fact that he could race 2 tracks, it takes the pressure off of the Jenkins team. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean he can run great at one track and falter at the other. He still has to be on top of his game. But right now, going in this early into the season in 2016, he's at the top of the game. He is the game.
He's already set the milestone for everybody else because,
yeah,
and like we said, 2 different tracks this weekend, 2 different feature wins. Not a whole lot of guys can say that on an opening weekend, let alone halfway through the year that I race 2 tracks or 3 tracks a week and I've won at all of them this week.
Now, you did mention 2 keywords here. Opening weekend. Now, this is going to be where I think the age difference and the experience comes into play. A lot of guys are fast right out of the gate at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. But once the tracks settle down, the track surfaces settle out, the tracks, they're packing them every week, they're sealing them over tight. We start getting into the 80, 90 degree weather and the tracks go really dry, slick. Now,
that's where you find a driver.
That's where you're going to find the driver. And Ryan Jenkins is a driver. I'm not discrediting that. He's kicked my butt all over that track, big time. But if he can consistently stay where he's at now, through the hot, dry, slick part of the summer, I could see him being a national champion. I think his national title reign in the NASCAR series, I think you're going to really start seeing that shape up in about the middle of June.
Yeah.
We've got, the weather's cool, it's rainy. I looked for the next 10 days. It's still, now we're recording this on Mother's Day here in my race shop, but with that being said, for the next 10 days from Mother's Day, the forecast, and it could change. It's still calling for the low, actually mid to upper 60s with some 70 degree days in there. A lot of sunshine. But like I said, you get into that 80, 90 degree weather when the tracks go dry slick, that's when you're going to see, all right, Jenkins,
Right. We're going to see how well you can really do on a hard, dry, slick surface. As every driver, because...
And he was good last year.
Because there's a lot of drivers, they're bad fast on the tack. You put them on one slick track
and they're gone. They're gone.
And it happens with a lot of guys. And that's a lot of drivers, a lot of crew guys, a lot of fans, they all say the same thing. You can drive on heavy, but you can't drive on slick. Slick is where you find the real drivers, because now they can drive both sides of the dirt.
Well, what works in Jenkins' favor, though, as young as he is, there's several other drivers just as young as Jenkins racing against Jenkins, but they don't have last year's experience that Jenkins has. Jenkins right now is beating guys like Sean Harker, Mark Lighting, Dennis Cook, Bill Flegg. We just mentioned the names earlier. If he's doing that now, I'm going to say a guy like Dennis Cook might be able to figure it out a little bit more on dry slick. He loves a dry slick. Ryan might like the dry slick. But with where he's at now, if he keeps the momentum going, he's going to be unstoppable. And I see Ryan Jenkins being a serious contender for the national championship.
Right. And there's some people that they've always, and I've heard them say this quite a bit, that, opening weekend, anybody can win opening weekend. It's opening weekend.
Yeah.
Which, I've seen that too. I've had drivers, they go out and they win opening weekend. And they don't win again the rest of the year. But to do it at 2 tracks, same weekend, that's actually pretty good.
Oh, absolutely. And I-80 in Corning, or I-80 Speedway, Adams County Speedway, neither one of them get like 10 cars. We're talking 20 to 30 cars on their average car count for a weekly show. So I tell you what, we're going to take a break right here. We're going to come back, and so stay tuned. It's Slingin' Dirt.
Hey guys, I'm Jeff with DriveDirtCars.com. Does your current race operation look like this? Well, if it does, give us a call at 815-990-2657. We're actually financing Harris race cars and CMC crate motor connection crate motors for your racing operation. Our payments range anywhere from $200 to $350 a month. If you'd like to get a new motor or you'd like to get a new chassis, give us a call, 815-990-2657.
Does your car smell as bad as Jamie Songer does? Come on down and we'll take care of you. Where we're gonna scrub all your vinyl, we're gonna clean all your seats, your carpet, everything. We're gonna put a conditioner on it, make a nice shine. It's gonna last for a long, long time. Then we're gonna head to the outside of your car. We're gonna do a nice hand wash with a buff with a nice hand wax finish. Call us at 282-4339.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Slingin Dirt. We were talking about in the preview of the show today, 2 key words. Kind of goes back to those Pee Wee Herman days. The word of the day is. The 2 words of the season this year. Situational awareness. You want to expand on what you think that means?
To most people, you imagine it means keep aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, we were at a track. May 5th, 6th, something like that, 6th, and another race team. We're not going to mention names. That's not important. But another team. It was a pure accident. It was way before the races started. They came into the pits. They turned in the pits, and their ramp over car trailer, I guess you'd call it, big old son of a gun, was pretty long. They turned it. Well, they entered the corner a little too early, a little too tight, and the promoter's car got ran over.
Literally.
In fact, I think it got parked on.
Up over the fender, on the hood, caused a lot of damage to the vehicle.
I don't know what the trailer looked like, but I got to thinking about that. I came over because I told you, and you're like, they did what? I don't know, dude, there's a race trailer parked on top of the promoter's vehicle. I mean, come on.
And at some point, we've all seen a trailer hit another trailer, or somebody back into somebody's pickup or something like that. A lot of times it's just inevitable. It's part of the sport, it sucks. But this one could have definitely been avoided. They just didn't pay close enough attention.
Yeah,
and we're not doing this to call anybody out or pick on anybody.
Nope.
It's just everybody needs to be aware of your surroundings.
Speaking of which, the one thing I want to tell the drivers, and you've seen this, you've been in enough races. The one thing I did experience as a driver, this comes back into the situational awareness. When we were at the track Friday night, the kids. I understand why some tracks don't let the kids in. The track we were at lets kids in. The only thing, as a parent myself, and I love kids, I've got 4 of them. My wife will tell you I'm one of her 5 kids. But with that being said, when you have kids in the pits, try to keep them on top of the trailer, around the trailer. Here's what happens. I'm going through the pits. I'm coming back up to the pit stall. The pits weren't watered down. Not a big deal, not complaining. But it was like that fine, silty, flowery dirt on top of the ground. Well, when you got open headers and you're coming up the pit road, you got this big plume of dirt coming around.
Right, or trying to follow other cars through the pits that create the dust.
And if you're trying to follow a car through the pits and you're 20 feet behind that car, now you're both kicking up all that dust, you can't see nothing.
Right.
Well, with that being said, there was a line of cars on my left-hand side, and a little boy, I'm gonna guess he was probably 6 or 7, minding his own business, just being a boy. He's just playing around, doing whatever. He runs out between 2 cars, and I almost hit him with my car. Situational awareness. You gotta pay attention to what you're doing all the time. And I thought about that, and that's when I came over and I was like, 2 words we gotta talk about: situational awareness. Make sure you know what's going on around you at all times.
And that's one thing that I try to do. I mean, everybody's seen my son on the show last week. when I have him at the track with me, or when his mom and I were still together, we'd all be at the races together. We kept very, very close eye on him. He's either playing in the trailer or right next to the trailer, but he was always within eyesight.
Well, you've seen my son Preston, which, by the way, I've actually honestly gotten some fan mail. When's Preston going to be on the show? And I'm like, oh boy, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
And it'll happen at some point, guys.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. He's still in school, and that needs to come first.
Oh, absolutely.
So this summer, we'll get him on here for you.
With that being said, Preston, you've seen him at the track. He stays in the trailer or on top of the trailer.
Yep.
If he goes to any other car, it's got to be usually within 1 or 2 cars. But typically when he's with me at the track, you've seen it, he doesn't really wander too far. He stays right there. He actually likes to work on the cars. And then once the car work is done, it's DS time in the truck or the trailer or whatever. So, but with everybody out there, be aware of what's going on. The last thing we need to do this early in the season is have some child get run over. We've already seen a promoter's vehicle. I'm not gonna say get run over, but just parked on. I mean, it just kind of
Damaged, to say the least.
To say the least, yeah. You know, and I tell you what, the promoter was just a class act about it. You know, he was like, they're good guys. He goes, it was just an accident, not a big deal.
Well, actually, that reminds me, talking with the promoter after the races, Tom Gutowski was at the races. Well, promoter's talking to Tom, and when all of this happened, and the driver that ran over the promoter's car came over, and the first thing Tom Gutowski says is, "Don't even bother unloading, he won't let you." And his face went beet red, his jaw hit the ground, and Rod looked at him and said, "You're fine. It's a mistake. Go ahead and unload, you can race."
Yeah.
And Tom did it just to pull his leg and get his reaction, and he got the reaction.
Can you imagine, though, that you're that guy that accidentally parked your race trailer on top of the promoter's car? And when I say on top of the promoter's car, this was not a Geo Metro by no means. This was
like
a Dodge Durango SUV or something like that.
Yeah, like a 2006 or 7 Dodge Durango, so it's not small.
The race trailer was parked. It's not funny, but it is funny. I walked over, I was going to use the porta potty, and I walked over and I was like, it's sitting on the hood. I'm like, man, go. Yeah, I went back and I looked at Jeff, my crew guy, and I go, Jeff, there's a race trailer parked on that guy's SUV, and he's like, no way. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Well, and Buddy and I walked over and looked at it after we seen it, and then we head back to our trailer, and I seen some friends show up I hadn't seen forever, so I go talk to them, and then I see the police department show up to file the police report for the accident. And I see the owner of the vehicle talking to the police, and then all of a sudden it clicked, oh geez, that's the promoter's car.
Yeah.
That's like you do an accident at work and you run over the boss's car, and then you realize it's the boss's car.
The only thing I asked Rod Olsson from Crawford County, I go, I just got a quick question, Rod, and he's actually legitimately laughing about this. A lesser guy would be irate, F-bombing, Rod was such a class act. And Rod goes, what's that, bud? Did you give him the black flag? I think Tom Gutowski. I just wondered. I mean, if we haven't even started racing for the year yet, and we've already got tore up cars, I just wanted to know how the rough driving was going to go up here. And by the way, I wouldn't say that there was a whole lot of rough driving at Denison. So,
no, it was actually a pretty clean night in all the classes.
It was. Speaking of Denison, wow. That for an opening night for that track, I thought was spectacular. You had the SLMR series, full field with a B feature for the SLMR series. Kyle Burke wins it, last lap move.
Yeah, he was probably half straightaway back with 5 to go, and then all of a sudden, poof, here he is in the lead by a half straightaway at the checkered within about 5 laps.
Yeah, that was impressive to say the least. The hobby stocks and the stock cars. To me, it felt like, for the most part, it was the same old guys. Now, when I say the same old, that's not just any Joe Blow race car driver. You got guys like Blessington, Nichols, You got the Stapletons in the stock cars. In the hobby stocks, you got Jason Cole. He's a stud in the hobby stock.
You got Jason Fusselman. He's no slouch.
Yeah, no, he's no slouch. And then they're out of Maddens.
Yeah, the Maddens are always a force to reckon with.
Chris and
Corey.
Yep. Or I thought it was Corey and Chuck.
Corey and Chuck, yeah.
Yeah. So the Maddens out of Harlan, Iowa. So no slouches in the drive department there. I think the toughest field though, and I'm not saying this because I drive one, the sport mods. You were even like pretty impressed.
About halfway through our feature, I couldn't believe, I'm not gonna say I couldn't believe Buddy Ray was passing cars, but he actually was.
I couldn't believe it, and I was driving.
Started, 16th up to 9th or 10th, something like that, and we had a power steering belt brake, so our unfortunate luck, but halfway through the race, he's passing cars, but the cars he has yet to pass, Clint Llewell, Austin Llewell, Caleb Kennedy, Jake Sacco, Doug Smith, Ari Stoughton was up there. So he had a full field of...
It was a stacked field.
Very, very good cars in front of him. So anybody would have had to work their tail off to get by anybody in that.
Well, if you look at look at the Jake Sacco Clint Llewellyn finish. What a finish! It was Jake Sacco turn forward, last lap, last 50 foot, taking it by, I think, a bumper.
Yeah.
And
mere
then
feet.
Yeah, mere feet, maybe a bumper. And then the very next night, it's Sacco and Llewellyn right up there again.
Yep.
I mean, I might be wrong in this, but I know Clint won at Harlan, but I think Sacco took second. I think they just switched.
I think so. I hadn't looked at the results very close off of Harlan, but I think that's what I was hearing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was just an all-around impressive night for Denison. I did hear some rumblings of the track surface. You know what? I don't want to hear about track surface rumblings. It is what it is. It's the first night of the season. Come on, people, get over it.
Back to opening night.
We're back to opening night. 2 weeks from now, it's going to be a totally different, track surface. It is what it is. In 2 weeks from now, it's going to be August is going to be a different track surface. And really, these guys could honestly put $1 million into their track surface prep, and a lot of times you don't know what's going to happen. You don't.
Well, and as rough as the track was, really only on the bottom side of the corners.
For the most part.
The top was fairly smooth, but there was still some really, really good racing, even with the roughness of the track.
Oh, absolutely.
But one thing you don't always see, when they pull a pitchfork out of the dirt.
I'll never forget that. Matt and I were walking, turned forward, and we're just walking the track. Some other drivers are out there chit-chatting, and somebody pulls a pitchfork, and I'm not talking like a little pitch, like we're talking the business end of a big pitchfork, and we're like, wow, that really just happened. So, but all in all, good night at Denison. Tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk to Rod Olsson, the promoter of Crawford County Speedway. We're not talking pitchforks with him, so don't get excited because we're not going to go there. So stay tuned. It's Slingin' Dirt. We'll be right back.
Joe's Karting is the Metro's fastest indoor karting facility. Come to Joe's to experience speed, join the competition, and ride the fastest indoor track around. Our professionally designed indoor karting track is perfect for arrive and drive racing, race classes, and racing competitions. We offer affordable pricing options, membership packages, event outings, and so much more. Stop in today to get registered for your next race, and don't forget to like us on Facebook for deals, giveaways, and more. Visit us online at joeskarting.com.
Welcome back to Slingin' Dirt. This week, we don't have a driver interview. This week's interview is going to be with Rod Olsson, the promoter for Crawford County Speedway. I know you've met a lot of promoters. This guy is so laid back.
He is. You look at him and you think, like, you're into the wrestling. You look at this guy and you think a big, burly WWE wrestler. I mean, shaved head, huge stance, 6'6" probably. I mean, the guy looks intimidating, but you talk to him, he's just a little teddy bear.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you want to make him mad and call him a teddy bear, but
I'll call him a teddy bear.
well, yeah. Well, you're smaller than he is.
It'd be like David and Goliath here.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't mean I'd win, though.
Yeah. So I tell you what, here's Rod Olsson, promoter for Crawford County Speedway. Everybody, welcome back to Slingin Dirt. I'm Buddy Ray. Of course, we got Matt Dennis and Rod Olsson, the promoter of Crawford County Speedway.
Right.
Tell you what, get in frame here a little bit. For all you racers out there, you've got to come to Denison, Iowa. Matt, what'd you think?
I haven't been up here in 3 years now.
Yeah, it's been a while for you.
Yeah. Last time I was here, I was crewing with Jesse Sobling, but I will say that in the last 3 years, I think the track's come a long ways.
Yeah, now we're doing the interview here on opening night. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little rough. But you know what? What track isn't rough on the first night of racing? You go to Eagle, you go to I-80, you go to Stewart, you go to Boone, you go to EIO Speedway in South Africa. It's gonna be rough. Well, I don't know about South Africa. I mean, I think they run a lot of sprint car races on asphalt, to be honest with you. So Rod, take us back through your history. I know you're not in South Africa, but take us back through your history. You know, when did you take over here at Denison?
Denison, we took over, TJ Ray hired me originally, and myself and Randy Andreessen as tech here in Denison and Harlan. And probably mid-season, early season last year, 15, TJ stepped down, and then they asked me to fill in for a week or so until they figured out what they were going to do. And here we are in 2016, and still doing the same thing.
Now, what all classes are you running here weekly?
We run 5 IMCA classes. We start with the sport compacts, then we go to the hobby stocks, the sport mods, the stock cars, and then the A mods.
Typically speaking at Crawford County Speedway, what's your biggest car count for the most part?
Well, you know, like last year, I think the modifieds was one of our strongest classes, you know, and obviously tonight, this year, you know, I think everybody ran hard this year, or this week.
Yeah.
You know, on the track, like you say, we always had a hole in turn 3, and they shortened the track up, and we still have the same dang hole. I don't know how you can shorten the track up as much as they do and still have a hole in the same turn. But we developed a couple new ones tonight, but I don't know. I'll be honest with you, everything was pretty tough tonight. The hobby stocks went green checker. The sport compacts, you know, they had a couple incidents, but they ran hard and they had a really good, tough, tight race. And then, you know, sport mods as well. I mean,
you know, speaking of the sport mods, we had Clint Llewellyn, Austin Llewellyn, Doug Smith, the Van Dyke. For whatever reason, I'm coming through the pack, and that's no joke.
Yeah, that's the truth. He was actually passing cars.
Yeah, Jamie Songer. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, this will hit Facebook.
And it's not because cars were dropping out either.
No. But even you had the SLMR series tonight.
Right.
You had Hospital, Kyle Bird. You had Corey Zeitner. He was in there.
Yeah.
You had a lot of big names.
You had both the Coons, Billy and Billy Jr.
Yep. You know, and in your A-mods, you have no slouches in your A-mods.
Oh.
The national champion, Chris Olson, runs here.
Right.
That speaks a lot. Because that guy has got the funds, and he's got the means. He can go anywhere he wants in the Midwest, or even in the state of Iowa. Iowa will try and save points, but he could run anywhere. He comes here.
right.
How good does that make you feel, knowing that the champs want to come to Denison?
Well, that's really cool, you know, and especially that he hailed from here. And last year, you know, Mike Nichols only lost the national championship in the stock car division by
Mike Nichols.
2 points.
Yeah.
2 points. And you know, the way the bonus points go, if I could have had 2 of my guys show up 2 more nights, it'd have been a entire, you know, the way I understand the point system. So, you know, yeah, we've got some pretty damn tough racers here.
Now, you talk about racers. You got a pretty tough schedule this year too, 2016. If I remember right, you got the USRA B-Mod,
The Ironman series.
or the Ironman series.
Right.
You have those. Oh my God, those cars are fast. I've gotten my butt kicked. I don't know how many which ways by those things. You got those. You have some sprint car shows coming too, don't you?
Yeah, well, the 360 sprints, the Nebraska 360 Dennis. Oh gosh, I can't remember his last name, but
You don't have the World of Outlaws though. do you?
no, not here.
You tried though, didn't you?
We actually had them last year,
Okay.
and I think last year we had in the sprint car division, we think we had 3 to 5 Hall of Famers here between Doug Wolfgang and the Kinsers, and you know, I mean, last year was still a year, but the weather was just killer for us.
Yeah. But you got the SOMR series, the Nebraska 360 series, the Nebraska 360 series. You guys are missing out. Don't mistake those guys. Those guys get after it.
Oh yeah.
That's a fun. You got guys like, you know, Jordan Boston, Jack Dover, Shaley Bay, Dan Satriano. Yeah, you know,
Johnny Herrera.
Johnny Brady Bacon.
Yep.
Jason Martin. He's in there.
Jack Dover.
Yeah, I already said the wheel man. Yeah.
He, and by no means is the series that's coming through going to be a reason to come. Just the weekly racing in itself.
Right.
I mean, with the caliber of drivers that are coming through this track on a weekly basis,
right,
you're going to get some amazing action every week.
The one thing that I like about Denison, and we've had this talk on the phone several times, you come to Denison, I love the slogan, half the size, twice the action. It races like I don't know, it kind of feels like you're in a little bit bigger than a bull ring, but you got that big half-mile speed. It's wide open all the way around here. You never know what's going to happen. You might be getting lapped, or you might be coming up on a lap car within a lap or so, but within a lap or two, you're always in the action. There's something always going on. It's really, really wide. I think you can go 20 wide on the front straightaway.
You would think.
You would think. Yeah. I know guys have tried it.
There was a lot of racing tonight that was even 4 wide on the straightaway.
Oh,
the sport mods went 4 wide at one point.
Cheez-Its and rice. You got that thing high enough off the ground?
Yeah, don't mind this guy. It's just Josh Blum sticking his head in. Never mind the fact, Josh, that we're on Slingin Dirt.
That's not live. You can edit it.
So, but with that being said, the one thing I do like about coming to Denison, especially when Josh Blum's not here, the fans are really, really cool. The drivers are really, really cool, and the promoter. The one thing I like about you is you came up and you're asking me, what did you think about tonight? We were talking about the receiver and stuff like that. I want to make this public knowledge. Next time I race Josh Blum, I'm going to put him in the wall. I'm going to Ricky Bobby him.
You got to catch me first.
That's, you know, and I'm new in the game, and that's one thing I'm not so arrogant that I think, you know what I mean, that everything I think is right. You know, and that's how we learn to make our tracks better, you know, is by asking you guys what we need to do and what, you know. It's a lot easier for me to ask than you to sit and stew about it and then freak out someday, and you know.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want. I need my racers back every week, and in order to do that, I have to make the racers happy. So I do my best to try and answer the questions they ask and try to better the things they want to better.
Well, and not only feedback from the racers, but feedback from the crowd too.
Oh,
if there's something on the outside of the track that they're not happy with, or
right,
they want to see something different, by all means, more input the better.
Right. Tonight I had a couple incidents. I don't know what the deal was with the lineups, but for some reason a lot of guys were late for getting into the staging area, and you have to be in the staging area before the checker
Racer
flies.
being late to get in the staging area. Who'd have thought?
It's like, I don't know, but tonight was really weird. I don't know why it was so. We've had it happen maybe once last year, and tonight, damn near in every feature, we had somebody that I had to kick to the back.
2 races that I want to ask you about that's really, really...
Tonight?
No, 2 races on your schedule that means a lot to this town.
Okay.
The Denny Hovengate special. There's that.
Yep.
And then also talk about the Laps for Lyric.
Okay, the Laps for Lyric, actually her mother, Raylee's my scorer up here. We're training her to score for next year. So Laps for Lyric's a really good deal. We'll sell some t-shirts, not we, but we'll give her some t-shirts. Kara Webb is a big, supporter of that and ambassador of running that. And then the Denny Hovengate special, TJ Ray actually started that, and the old race board had that going, and that's pretty cool to be able to honor somebody while they're still able to see it. And how cool was it for Denny to watch his grandson race, in the sport mod last year? And I mean, a lot of people I talked to, Denny was up in the stands, and like it was, little Hudson, he was coming to the front, he was coming up through. I think he was into, 9th, 10th place up in the front, but he was in the back and started coming up. And they said, dude, Denny was just hooting, hollering, and screaming up in the stands,
Denny's
and that's cool.
Denny's actually a really cool guy, period, outside of the track. I heard he can be quite the comedian if he wants to.
Oh, he's ornery.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's ornery, all right. I don't know how to describe it, but honorary is a good word.
Yeah, I had the privilege of working 1 year with him. I was running heavy equipment, actually for one of the track supporters, Men's Construction, and Denny and I worked together on a team and built a lot of terraces. But yeah, we may or may not have had a couple adult beverages, but more than
we would have thought.
Yeah, pretty much every night. But anyway.
Yeah, we would have thought. So just out of curiosity, what was your drink of choice? What was your poison?
I'm a beer drinker.
Beer drinker. Yeah, if you ever listen to my phone when it rings, it always starts off on a cold beer drinker.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a callus on my pop topper. I know we've seen that a couple of times. So Once or twice. Talk about every Friday night. What's really cool is you also work with other area racetracks with your schedules. You don't see that a lot. Out there's a lot of promoters that are like, well, Matt, you're going to run next Friday night. Well, I'm going to run Friday night on top of you, and let's just see how good you don't have that mentality.
No, and I'll be honest with you. It's a tough gig Friday nights, first of all. And, I'll be honest, that Monday and Tuesday I've been physically sick. I mean, I was sick because I know in my heart there are 5 tracks in this area that probably within 100 miles that anybody can drive to. So the track tonight, no, I'm not happy with it. And realistically, can any driver go anywhere? Blackbird Ben's going to start racing Friday nights. They go to I-80 on Friday nights. They go to Fort Dodge on Friday nights. They go to Spencer on Friday nights, or they can come here. And all them tracks are pretty much within a 100-mile radius of right on our front straightaway. So we have to do the best at what we do and try to keep our drivers happy. So one thing I've done is I called Joe Kaziski last year. That was the first night I had the track. We had 93 cars. Second night we had maybe 65. So then going through, at the end of the year, go through and reevaluate why I had a slump. Was it just a mid-season slump in the middle of July? Could have been. Or was it the fact that Silver Dollar Nationals were running? More than likely, that's
that could have been a lot of it.
Yeah, and a lot of our racers like to attend that. So,
I've honestly never been to the Silver Dollar Nationals.
You got to go to Silver Dollar Nationals.
Yeah, it's basically the World 100 right here, right there.
I like the Thursday night portion because all the big boys get to go out and play a game of whose pee-pee's bigger than whose with a practice. I mean, when you're out there with the radar gun, which I'll have this year, and you're watching the USMTS guys go blowing into the turn 3 at I-80 at 121 mile an hour.
Right.
Yeah, you living on the edge of death. That's nuts. In fact, Jesse Simon would, we talk about it a lot on the show. Jesse was laughing. He was getting ready to go out on the track for practice. I had the radar gun on him. And it read 99. I was like, he's 99 mile an hour just sitting there. He was laughing. I took a picture of him, put it on my Facebook. I was like, the fastest guy that goes nowhere. Wow. So, but that weekend, you're taking that weekend off. And drivers appreciate that.
For IMC track points, the Fair Board's actually going to run the 360s. That's the same weekend they're doing that. So I'm planning on being at I-80 and having a couple toddies, and I plan on having.
So we gone from beer to toddies now.
Well, beer, same thing for me. So
I'm a light kind of guy.
It's a beverage.
It's an adult beverage.
Yeah.
So on Friday nights, talk about pit passes, admission prices to get in here at Denison.
Pit passes were at $25, just pretty much the status quo with everybody else. And then our stands were, you asked me that, were $9 for general admission. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even know the students. But we do have senior students that are that's $5 on that. And then I said, thank you, buddy. And then the other track we worked with, another great racer or great promoter is Joe Rainsdorf. Rainsdorf's going to run his Brits Night of 1,000 Stars. This is Joe's last year promoting. So talked to him a little bit. He's going to take a Friday night off up in Spencer for us on our Denny Hogan Gay Special, so his guys can come to the Hogan Gay Special. And the week before, I'm taking off so we can our racers can go up and do the Night of 1,000 Stars.
I've always said that when the promoters work with each other on their schedules, it's going to benefit everybody, especially the cars, the fans, you guys. It'll help everybody.
We've apparently just had an earthquake in Denison, Iowa.
That was a magnitude 5.0 stepping quake, is what that was. 5-0 stepping quake.
Oh, God.
But, well, Rod, thanks. We're going to go.
We're gonna check the damage on the hull.
Yeah.
Should we go Goldberg on him?
Yeah, we're going to spare them. So, well, thanks for coming on
You bet.
Slingin Dirt.
Well, thanks,
I
guys.
appreciate it.
Yep, and thanks for coming, Dennis, and we sure appreciate it. And then the other thing I like to do is thank our racers. You know, our racers on Facebook have been promoting our track, you know, and that's another big thing for racing and for the tracks to do good is the fact that the racers actually help promote, you know, like for example, Neary puts on there that, hey, we're all going Denison this weekend, and opening night, Friday night, and you know, he wasn't the only one. I'm drawing a blank on I've seen like half a dozen or more. Mike Nichols was one, and
I was one.
You were one. I mean, but there really were.
Yeah.
There was. I mean, if I really took time to go through, there was a minimum of 6 people that posted on there that were coming here. Kevin Brook, another one. Yeah, I mean, really, I mean, that's what helps to support the racers and supports the tracks, and then our fan base as well. You know, and without the racers, you know, we don't have anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. You know, we need to try and get the kids off the couch, quit playing Minecraft. We need to get out. You know, we
Well spoken.
we provide not just live entertainment, but we provide unpredictable live entertainment, and that's what our racers do.
At an affordable cost, too.
Well, you know, and it isn't going to kill them, you know, and it's a beautiful night tonight, though, guys.
Oh, yeah.
It was great.
To define unpredictable racing, once again, I was coming through the feature. Legit.
No, you were moving up.
I was moving up. Tell you what, how do people get a hold of Crawford County? Website, Facebook? What's your website?
Crawford County CCS dirtracing.com, and then our easy for me to say, and I haven't even had a beer yet, maybe that's why. But we're on Facebook, Crawford County Speedway is on Facebook.
I just want to put this out there. You might find this funny. Jamie Songer. If Jamie was to show up, would you do a one-on-one race? Jamie and me versus each other one-on-one in a special race, or me and JB one-on-one in a sport mod. I mean, Jamie thinks he can beat me, so
We might as well bring Cooney on. That would be.
That would be an interesting battle.
Yeah.
Because you'd win that one, because Jamie and Todd would be fighting with each other.
well, all you got to do is sprinkle donuts along the track, and Cooney's gonna win. But if you put frogs in Songer's car, I'm guaranteeing you he's gonna move faster than he's ever moved before.
He probably won't even get in the car then.
No. So.
And if you don't have Cooney and Songer on Facebook with
Yeah.
Peters, you have to do that. That's some pretty good entertainment as well.
Well, if you watched the Caden Rice interview a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
Kurt Peters is known as Toad Sucker.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and Songer, according to Caden, his name's Douchebag. But I'm just gonna put it out there. That's so. But
Them guys, you know what? Them guys do a lot though too. With
they do a lot.
I mean, they do. I mean, they really do. They support the sport, and they, you know, with the kids and everything they do, it's, you know, they're genuine. I mean, they can play, but they're damn serious, and they do a damn good job of what they do. I mean, they're really great guys.
yeah. Well, I tell you what, thanks for coming on Slingin Dirt. I tell you what, Matt Dennis, Rod Olsson, promoter of Crawford County Speedway. I'm Buddy Ray. We're going to be right back here after a few moments. So that's Rod Olsson, promoter for Crawford County Speedway. You know, as that guy, he's kind of like another Dennis Cook. We could have interviewed that guy for probably another hour.
Yeah.
And the cool thing that I liked about Rod, and a lot of promoters do this, I'm not singling just Rod out, a lot of promoters do this, is he was coming up to me as a driver. Well, what'd you think about this? What'd you think? How did you like the track tonight? He you know, obviously he said he didn't like the track. But he wants the driver's input. And a lot of times you go to a track and they don't care what the drivers think.
And he even asked me as a crew member what my input was on the racing, on the track, on the surface, on how things were ran. And he wants the feedback from, just like a lot of promoters, maybe not all of them care as much, but he wants the feedback, especially from the drivers. He wants some feedback from the pits, from the crew members, but he wants a lot of feedback off of the fans also. Things that they liked about the experience, didn't like, just general questions, concerns, compliments. So whatever your respective local track is, the more feedback, the better, whether it be to the promoter or just one of the officials.
The one thing I do, why you brought that up, with the feedback to the promoter, there's a right way to do it and all the wrong ways to do it.
Yeah, if you got something that you're not happy about,
take a day and cool off first.
yeah.
Don't be F-bombing them, don't be screaming at them. You know, have I been mad at promoters? Oh yeah, I've been pretty upset at promoters before. The best thing to do, and I haven't always done it myself, just take a day, cool off. I know I can call Rod Olsson on his cell phone. I can call Joe Kaczynski, Roger Hayden, Katie Shirky, back when he was alive, Ray Houck. A lot of these promoters are very easily accessible. If you give them some respect and treat them accordingly, it's not hard to get a cell phone number out of your local track official, whether you're in California, Australia, you know, wherever your racing's at.
Or even get on their website.
Get on their website or on Facebook, you know.
Right. And if you're still upset about it tomorrow, go ahead and use caps lock through your whole message and yell at them that way. But don't do it face to face. It's not worth it. It's not needed. There's no reason for it.
No, and really, I know you're saying use caps lock and go at it. I disagree. I mean, I see the joke there, but
if you're still that upset,
if you're that upset, don't go on Facebook. Go, oh, this stupid piece of crap track, yada yada. They don't know what they're doing, yada 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 yada.
Well,
oh my dear.
And I guess I say that as a private message, not a wall post.
Yeah, don't do it as a wall post, because then you're just adding fuel to the fire. People love drama, and then everybody wants to be the Billy Big Shot and come in with their comments when they had nothing to do initially with your thoughts and concerns.
That's kind of like the claim that we talked about the other night with.
Let's talk about the claim.
Yeah, boy, did that get people riled up on Facebook.
We're not going to feed that face. I don't think we need to feed that Facebook post, but guys.
But I will say that the person it came from, I understand what the complaint was, but in his situation, I think it got a little out of hand personally.
Here's the deal with the claim. Back in the mid-90s, I'm racing, we had a claim back then. Back in the mid-90s, for the weekly stuff at like an IMC style track, you didn't see a lot of $15,000, $20,000 motors. I'm not saying that they didn't exist, but I know back at Eagle, you did not see a lot of $10,000, $15,000 motors. A really good piece was $3,500, right. maybe.
And you splurged if you hit 5,000.
Oh yeah. You know, and
that was in the day where $500 junkyard motor, you change a couple things on the outside, you valve covers, intake, carburetor. You put it in, you went and ran, and you were competitive with those $3,500, $5,000 motors.
I understand why IMCA wants to claim. IMCA wants to claim there. They don't want the big hog molly motors out there. You know, their mantra is affordable weekly racing. I can't afford a $20,000 motor. Hell, I can't even hardly afford the shocks that I got on my car. But with that being said, the guy that was claimed, he had a good point. Several of the people in his post had a good point where, you know, they're talking, and now this was in the A-mods, you know, they've got some of these A-mod shocks that are $400 a piece now. And I'm just like, you're only winning $400 at a weekly race.
Right.
Now, if it's a special, you might win $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000, but at $400 a shock on some of these, I think they were the AFCO Silver Series bulb shocks. I think I could be wrong.
They were.
Yep. With that being said, nice shocks, but at some point, you know, at some point we have to look at the cost of racing. The number one thing I've heard from racers over the last few years, and this could go back the last 50 years, is racing's gotten out of control. It's gotten out of hand financially. In some ways, I would agree with that. You know, I look at the sport mod now. And I see guys that can spend upwards of $250 to $300 a shock. You're only winning $150 to $300 from certain tracks. I ran tracks where if you win, it doesn't care if you had a 50 car show, you get 150.
Yep.
I've gone to tracks where if you get 10 cars, you might win 300. It is what it is. But
everybody goes into this sport
Yes.
knowing that there's a claim, knowing what they're going to spend on whatever aspect of their car, the shocks, the motor, something like that. Everybody knows what they're getting into. So the part I don't get, you run that risk.
why complain?
So if you're going to complain to yourself because you spent that much money. They might be a better product, whatever it is, the motor, the shocks, carburetor for sport mods. It may be a better product that you're running, but you spent that money, knowing you have the risk to lose that product.
I understand that some of these parts are really expensive, really high dollar. And I'm not going to name out manufacturers because I've looked at some of this stuff. Why have I been willing to pay for some of it? One, the R&D that goes into it. They've taken the guesswork out of it for you by building some of these products for you. Somebody's got to get paid for that. So I understand the manufacturer's pain there. I don't think AFCO is all about, trying to rape the racer for money.
Right.
And I don't honestly think, in my mind, a lot of people are going to say I'm completely full of crap. I'm going to take a lot of heat for this statement I'm going to say, but I don't think IMCA wants to see this racer spend any more money than they have to be competitive. Now, some people could say, no, they want you to spend the money. They're getting their kickbacks, yada, yada, yada. With that being said, I don't think Brett Root wants anybody to go out and spend $60,000 on a sport mod, though.
But at the same time, with IMCA getting their kickback off of product, whatever it is, that's what helps keep all of us doing what we do on the weekends.
A long time ago, when I say a long time ago, the Front Stretch was a podcast out of Omaha. And I actually had a IMCA rep on there, and we were talking about the IMCA mandated stickers on some of these parts and the spec parts. And I'll never forget this. I think it was Jim Standard. Out in California, before we had IMCA stickered wheels, guys were making their own homemade rims, busting the rims, flipping cars, and getting hurt. At that point, IMCA steps in. They want to protect the racer. And they're saying, well, no, you're going to start using these rims. Now, look, racing's expensive. I think, I don't know what, I don't even know what they get for a rim. It could be $1, it could be $10. I don't know. I don't care. All I know is I want to go race. I'm going to pay that price. With that being said, though, I know that IMCA is looking out for me. Now, I'm not like the world's biggest poster child for IMCA either. I think every series and every sanctioning body and whatnot could tweak some stuff from time to time, but I couldn't agree with you more. When you get into the sport, you know what you're getting into. Don't complain about a claim when nobody forced you to buy that sport mod license. Nobody forced you to buy that modified license. At some point, you had to go, yeah, I want to do this. To complain about the claim would be like me getting into the WWE ring with Stone Cold Steve Austin, taking a stunner and going, well, Steve, you hurt my head. Well, what'd you think was gonna happen? I mean,
Do you really have something to hurt in there?
not much, not anymore.
But no, I mean, and every claim has a refusal option too.
Absolutely.
You can take the fine, you can take the penalty. I mean, if you're the one being claimed, it's crap.
Oh, it is. It sucks.
No matter how you look at it, you can give away this, or you can take that penalty and suspension. But if you're the claimer,
I do think
most of them do it for a reason to try to help themselves. Other times they do it just to be a jerk.
I do think in some ways though, on these claims, like in the sport mods, if you have a crate motor, you can claim another crate motor carburetor, a 4-barrel, but it's got to be 4-barrel for 4-barrel straight across.
Right.
I am a firm big believer in crate versus crate swap. Now, I did ask one guy a long time ago, well, why don't we have a crate motor claim? And if I remember right, his response, and I could be off, but if I remember right, his response was, well, do you want to go claim a crate motor that might have 200 nights on it? Well, don't you have some claimer motors out there that have a lot of nights on it.
Well, and the crate motors are supposed to be built where everything is equal.
Yes.
The only thing that's going to be different is mine has 5 nights, yours has 50.
You might have a stock 4-barrel carburetor. I might have a $1,500 Willie carburetor on it.
Right, and
It's the bolt-ons.
I've been with teams before. We've been claimed. We've lost a carburetor. We've lost shocks. You know what? We just look at them and say, it's nothing fancy. Whatever, take it. Fine. Who cares?
Yeah.
We at least had spares, so we. And granted, with the carburetor, it was a swap. The shocks, it was just lose it, put new ones on. But we had means where we could take care of what was missing now. But for us, it was okay, no problem.
Have at it. There you go. The one thing about the claim, though, and I think the guy did mention this in his post on Facebook. I think the shock claim was $50 or $75 a shock, something like that. How can you give up a $400 shock for $50 or $75? Whatever the you couldn't replace the shocks for what he got.
Right.
But it kind of comes back to that mentality. You know what you were getting into. Now, you and I were laughing. The one guy did mention, well, shocks don't make a 10th place guy a winner. It makes a third place guy a winner. And I think there's a lot of truth to that statement. A lot of guys could go out here. I was in a group conversation here about 2 or 3 years ago, and I was talking to a guy that knew quite a bit about shocks. I'm an idiot with shocks. Let me look right up front. I'm going to tell you right now. I go to my shock guy. He goes, "Put this on the car." Okay, that's all I need to do.
You're the guy that knows they go in and they go out.
They go in, they go out. And so my shop guy works with me quite a bit. With that being said, I was standing there, I was listening to this conversation, and he goes, the problem with a lot of guys that don't know shocks is they don't know shocks. So I don't want to waste my time working with somebody who doesn't even understand how shocks work and the valvings and all that.
At the same time, no, the only way to understand is to work with them on that.
Right.
Just like a 2-link or a 4-link setup or something like that. In order to understand it, somebody's got to teach you how to do it.
You know, I've often wondered, you look at the A mods and you look at the sport mods, and Keith Knack, in my opinion, back in the day when the modifieds, we're talking late 80s, early 90s, they kind of semi took the appearance of what we got around us now. Keith Knack wanted a fun, affordable class. Had Keith Knack been here, do you think that he would envision the modifieds being what they are today, or would he be like, okay, this is kind of a little out of hand?
I think
that's a loaded question.
I think he'd probably like to see the evolution of it, but I still think he'd be more, we're getting a little bit out of hand with suspensions, costs, motors.
Right.
I think he'd say both.
I gotta ask you opinion on this. You've been in the claimer world. You've been in the what I call crate nation, or do you like the crate motors being in racing, or are you against the crate motors in racing?
I like them.
I tell you what, if it wasn't for the crate engines, I personally would have been done. Would have been done.
And I've had the debate with everybody, like everybody has, crate versus open. Personal opinion, I'll take a crate over an open any day. For one reason.
Cost effectiveness?
Maintenance.
Maintenance, yeah.
Change your valve springs, change your oil. If it breaks, you find a certified dealer through IMCA to fix it.
It's funny you mentioned certified dealer. Boy, I'm gonna have a lot of hate mail after this show. So, Matt Dennis has a machine shop, and we've talked about this. Matt,
not technically.
Not technically.
Example only, people.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't have a machine shop. We've talked about a lot of hypothetical stuff outside of the show. But Matt Dennis hypothetically has a machine shop. If your machine shop solely revolves around race engines and you're successful, good job, great. I don't know of a lot of machine shops that strictly do that, because I can name off machine shops that work on semis, tractors, cars, pickups, race cars. They work on all of it.
Generally anymore, most machine shops they do machining on any motor.
On any motor. Yeah, and so to me, if you have a large concentration of racers in any one geographical area, kind of like what we do in Omaha, Council Bluffs, Harlan, Beatrice, Greenwood, right here in the Missouri Valley corridor, we have a lot of racers. With that being said, if we had, I'm not saying that every single machine shop needs to be a certified repair center, but if we had more repair centers, then I think that would be awesome, because now, I hear a lot of people, well, the crate engines take all the business away from the machine shops. No, you machine shops need to get a hold of Brett Root and go, hey, can we be an authorized repair center? You're just evolving your business.
Right, and that's one of those things. There's a machine shop here in town that I deal with quite a bit from time to time, and I don't know what his workload is, busy or not, but I'll use him for my example. But if he wants to get more into the racing stuff, within 100 miles of here, there's only 4 places you can go. Well, now for the concentration in Omaha, Council Bluffs, Greenwood, even up to Missouri Valley with Dennis Cook, now there's a machine shop right here in the middle of all of it.
Right.
Versus driving all the way to Des Moines or all the way out to Sutton, Nebraska, or Speedway Motors in Lincoln, or Ludovise all the way in Sioux City. So, and depending on your region, depending on how many racers you have, if it'll work for a shop or not, there are shops out there that, if they approach IMCA the right way, hey, we deal with racing, we want to know if we'd be able to be a certified IMCA repair shop on your crate motors. And IMCA may do some research on it, some homework on it, see if you're a good candidate for them.
Yeah, it's got to be feasible for both sides. That's why I'm saying not every machine shop can be a repair center. But right here in Omaha, Council Bluffs, these two towns side by side, separated by a little creek called the Missouri River, name a crate authorized repair center.
Zero. We have not one authorized IMCA crate motor repair facility.
When you go out to Lincoln, you have Speedway Motors, and it's real easy for a guy to go, well, bud, you can just run down to Lincoln. Well, yeah, but by the time I go down to Lincoln, drop it off, tell them what's going on, if they can fix it right then and there, great. But then I got to come back to town, wait for them to get the crate motor done, go back down there. You're talking...
And take that time off of work versus you can just call your boss and say, hey, instead of coming in at 8, can I come in at 9? Here's the deal. And I'm sure most people's bosses know their racers. So, hey, Frank, I'm not going to be in at 8. I got to go drop this motor off, get it fixed. I'll be in by 9. Now you're only losing 1 hour versus an hour down. Talk to him for 30, 40 minutes and an hour home. So now you're at work by noon.
Yeah,
it goes smooth.
Omaha Council Bluffs has quite a few machine shops. There's no shortage of machine shops. There's no crate authorized repair shops.
Right.
Now I could see IMCA or NASCAR or whoever the sanction body is going, well, how do we police all this? Well,
to me, there's really only about one solution on that. Unless they figure something else out, if this would be a feasible option for IMCA, and not trying to spend their money for another person on salary or payroll or something, but hire one specific person. Let's say in our area they pick up 3 machine shops. All this guy does is drive from shop to shop, drops off the cable lock systems and the bolts, records which shop has which bolts, which cables, and when they come back on that 3rd day, they take that information back so they can log it in their system.
Yeah, I think it would be...
And it's just a constant police from location to location.
A lot of people talk about the whole cheated up crates, and we're not going to go into that conversation.
That's a great crate debate.
Yeah. With that being said, I've often thought, if you had more crate authorized machine shops, like you said, they have X amount of seal bolts and cables. When they seal the motor back over, they inscribe in that seal. Well, when they inscribe in that seal a serial number, their initials, they take a picture of it, they send it to IMCA, it's kept in a database.
Yep.
Now, if the racer gets caught at the track with a cheated crate motor, and they're like, well, no, this guy, no, it's serialized and everything. Well, all of a sudden it comes back on that authorized repair center. I don't want to be that authorized repair center getting caught with a cheated crate.
Right, because then instantly you can lose all credibility with your racers,
Oh, absolutely.
especially on a sealed motor, but IMCA could say, you know what? We're done.
We're done with
You just lost it. We'll be by Monday morning at 9 o'clock to pick up all the cables and seals.
In IMCA, I'm not looking at the rules right off the top of my head. I've never had to worry about it, but if you have a cheated crate, I believe it's a 30-day suspension and a $5,000 fine. Well, how about this? You can't suspend a business, but if they want to keep their authorized repair center status, they pay a $5,000 fine. Oh boy.
And I can see that.
You know, what's good for the racer is good for the manufacturer in some ways. That would keep people.
And you could even turn that into like a 3-strike rule. First time it's 5,000 for the facility. Second time it's 10,000 for the facility. Third time,
You're done.
you're done.
They pull your certification.
And it's not like you're done for 5 years, but you're done for good. You just lost a lot of money in business.
Yeah.
And if you can find a local shop that could be able to do something like that with IMCA, that can help keep the racers' costs down, because now you're not driving the hour to Lincoln or the 2 hours out to Des Moines.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
just driving across town.
Yeah, I mean, I could, now we're talking about the Omaha Council Bluffs area because, that's where we live. But I don't know, is there a repair center in Kansas City that you know of?
That I know of.
There's not one that I
don't
know
think.
of. You go to St. Louis.
Not that I'm aware of.
Not
that
St.
I've
Louis.
heard.
Denver. Denver's IMCA country.
They have Broncos.
Well, yeah, that's a... Wow. On that note, we're going to take a break right back, and we're going to talk about a guy who's got an opinion about everything. And I mean everything.
Really?
Yeah, really. Really. So stay tuned. It's Slingin' Dirt. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to Slingin' Dirt. This next guy needs no introduction whatsoever. It is Kurt Peters and Todd Cooney's best friend. He is the 10th wonder of the world because everybody's wondering what he's doing in this world. I don't think he knows what he's doing in this world.
I thought him and Todd Cooney were brothers.
That might, well, I don't know, because Sean Cooney...
Well, you know that I can see him being brothers because
Well, Sean Cooney, according to Jamie Songer, he's Todd Cooney's dad. I mean, that was on last year's show.
True.
But later on in the episode, Sean Cooney didn't really claim either one of them.
Yeah, but I could still see Todd and Jamie being brothers because Todd's got to be the older brother because he obviously ate all the donuts and Jamie didn't get any.
Yeah. Although Jamie's lost quite a bit of weight.
That's because Todd's eating all the food.
Well, no. I told Jamie Saunders, like, Jamie, man, you're looking pretty good. What have you lost? And he was like, oh, thanks to you and Matt, about 35 pounds. And I was like, thanks to me and Matt, what in the world did we do for you? Oh, you having people send updates to my phone. My phone's going ding, 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 ding. And so I'm sitting there, I'm getting all excited. And it's just another update. Oh, they got the lug nuts on the car.
Yeah, he thought somebody was actually talking to him.
Yeah. I mean, so,
We're helping keep the left side down, Jamie.
Yeah, keep the left side down. You're doing good. So everybody keep sending your updates to Jamie Songer's Facebook so his phone blows up. So, he's getting that good cardio going. Oh my God. Action.
Before long, he'll be able to wheel that hobby stock one-handed.
Yeah, what do you think? Jamie versus Bud? That's gaining some traction.
Here's Songer Says, everybody.
Yeah.
Warning, the related content may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Alright, so today we're going to talk about blaming everyone for every time you have an accident. You know the guy. Oh, my car got junked again because somebody just couldn't get off the gas.
Hey, dumbass! Somebody was you! I watched the video! The guy spun out in turn 1. You're not even to turn 1 yet. He spun out on the top, facing straight down. And your option was stand on the gas. Hang on, boys, we're gonna go through. You look like Smokey and the Bandit trying to smash a convoy of friggin' cop cars. Hey, I got news for you, jackwagon. There's a frickin' pedal to the left, too. You can use it. It's called a brake. And sometimes, I know you find this difficult to believe, but sometimes the brake can save you from an accident. You do not just have to drive through every accident. It doesn't work, Cold Trickle. You don't have specially matched tires to get through it. So if someone's spinning up in turn 1 and you're coming into turn 1, my normal etiquette is lift off the gas a little to see what is going to happen so I have a little more reaction time. Now maybe that's why that reasoning for that is because my reactions are sometimes a little slow. But obviously yours are just as slow. So his car would be good, your car would be good if you just wouldn't brake. And I know all the jackwagons behind you, they don't have a brake pedal. I've done discovered that. There is a reason why the people that are at the back of the pack, week in and week out, are at the back of the pack. They don't have a brake pedal, period. They don't brake going into the corner, so they're not fast. So, if you spin out in front of them, hello, ding, 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 wreck. It's gonna happen. But if you're up front and thinking you're fast, then maybe you should act like you're fast and have a reaction. I got told the other day about one of the greater IMCA drivers anything this guy races. We'll just call him out, Mike Nichols. This guy has the uncanny ability to follow a guy for 2 laps, and he knows what the guy is gonna do the next lap before he knows. And that's what makes him a great driver. He sees the situation and he analyzes it before it even happens. So for instance, you don't see Mike caught up in many wrecks because he sees ahead of him, way ahead. Most of you jackwagons can't see over the dash of your car. You're just like, woohoo, hang on boys, we're going. And that's how you drive. That is what the Dukes of Hazzard do. And I know from the show, it didn't look like they wrecked many cars, but they did. So get out of the freaking fairy tale land and live in reality.
Well, good old Jamie Songer. You know, we give, we've said it a million times, we give the guy a lot of flack, but he's really good for the sport. Have you seen when the next Supreme Enduro Series race is?
No, I was just thinking about that, literally.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, we've also got some races coming up at the end of May.
We do. There's actually a pretty big one that we are going to plan on hitting May 29th, the Charlie Park Memorial, but we need to figure out a couple nights before that too.
Yeah, so we've got our 2016 racing calendar with racing schedules. Boy, folks, if you haven't bought one of these, you're living under a rock. $10 at the track, $15 shipped to your doorstep. So let's see what we got coming up in May. By the way, Jim Stephan Siebesma, great job, high color, high vis calendar going on here.
And we ran into Jim Stephan's May 6th at Denison, and we've had our copies of the calendar for a while, and we knew that they were good. But Jim took 250 of these things to the racetrack and sold out. He needed more and didn't have them.
Tracks, you need to get a hold of Jim Stephan because the fans would love this.